The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle, where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships. Or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
Coach Jesse, Habit-Based Lifestyle. And I want to welcome you guys to episode 3 of the Coach's Corner. And this week, specifically, we're going to be talking about high-ticket offers and also program hoppers, high-ticket offers, program hoppers, and also keeping your promises. So I want to start this episode out a little bit different. In the past, we get right into business stuff, but I think it's important as entrepreneurs, business owners, whether you're male or female, is that you are keeping promises, number one, to yourself, but number two, to the people in your life, the people that matter most, your kids, your spouse, those things. Because if we don't keep those things, we don't keep those promises, especially to ourselves and the people that are closest to us, then chances are we're not going to be keeping promises to our customers. We're not going to be keeping promises to our clients, and we're not going to be keeping promises to the world around us. And I think fundamentally where we start is always with ourselves. And so I wanted to share that a little bit as we got into this week's Coach's Corner. Is that was something that came up for me. That was something big that, I thought about kind of at the earlier part of the week. And I wanted to make sure I shared that, because I think a lot of times we can get caught up in the mundane business stuff where we're always just focused on, I want to build my business, I want to build this. But when you don't keep your promises to your spouse, your kids, that weighs heavy on you as a producer inside of your business. And I know for myself, in some ways, because of COVID, because of all the things that have happened in the lockdown, I'm watching where I used to maybe take my kids more consistently on dates, I'm watching myself come up with excuses why I maybe don't do that as consistently. And it's kind of like, well, maybe, the restaurants are closed, or, there's other things happening that are keeping me from doing that. And I know for me, it maybe is giving me an excuse not to go as much on dates with my kids. And so as I had this come up this week, I'm like, man, my little daughter who's 5, I think it was Sunday, she's like, Dad, will you take me to the park and play? And I was like, yeah, of course I will. But as the day went along, we got busy doing things. And then all of a sudden it's like 4:30 at night, it's dark out. And she's like, hey, can we still go to the park? And I'm like, well, it's dark, we may have to go tomorrow. And she just wasn't having that. And so I really was like, man, why can't I go to the park when it's dark? What's against that? And so I made a commitment to make sure that I took her that night to the park. It was dark when we were there, but we had fun and we figured it out. Same as in, my other daughter who's 10, we made sure we went to teriyaki one night. And then my son, I get to work out with him, all the time, 2 days a week. So we connect on that level. But I think the important thing is that when you make a commitment to your kids, when you make a promise to your kids, what are we teaching them by not following through? And, I really challenged myself this week to get back into consistently connecting with my kids, dating with my kids, because that's something that my kids are going to remember, the promises that, their dad kept growing up. And those are the things that, matter to them more than me, buying them something. And I could think about, what are the things that I remember the most about growing up with my parents? And it was usually about showing up, to sporting events, supporting you in that way, taking time to play with you where, I don't really remember the things that my parents bought me. I remember a couple of things, but I don't remember that many things. The things that I consistently remember is, when they showed up or didn't show up to my sporting events and supported me in that way. Those were the things that mattered to me the most. And so I want to make sure I do those things for my kids. And so I wanted to share that with you guys this week because that was something big for me that I really wanted to make sure that we talked about. Also, a big thing that, has kind of came up this week is this kind of idea of like program hoppers. These are people who, sign up for programs, they get into them, they may do, 4 weeks of it, 5 weeks, 6 weeks of it, have good results. And then they immediately want to go to another program because, they are convinced that you're not offering something. And so I want to challenge you guys. Like, I think it's important that we coach. And even for myself, I can remember times where I've been in like 5 or 6 programs at one time. But generally when I get into a coaching program, I look at, what are the skill sets that I need to improve on? And so maybe, it may be sales, it may be, copywriting, if I'm talking strictly about business, if I'm talking strictly about business stuff, maybe it's, I need to learn how to, market better, or I need to learn how to get leads better, whatever that is. There's a specific skill set that's required to do that. And there's been times where I've been in, 3 or 4 different programs that were all kind of helping me individually or helping me with a skill set to be able to do that, but they all were pushing me forward. And so, where I may see, an issue come up is, I can remember being in the fitness industry and having a gym where, somebody might be following a keto plan and then they're like convincing themselves on the other side, well, I'm going to do half keto. I'm going to follow one plan and then I'm going to do half high carb. And you're kind of like doing 2 conflicting plans or 2 conflicting recipes and expecting to get a result. And that very rarely ever works. Now, if I said, listen, I'm going to do keto and then I'm going to do some intermittent fasting, both of those things kind of fit together. But for some reason inside the personal development coaching space is you get people who, think, hey, I'm going to be in this program, but I'm going to be in another program. And they kind of are like, they're similar, but they're conflicting. And, what gets really frustrating is when you see people get good results, you see people change, and then they immediately think, hey, I'm going to go do something else now, where they didn't really give that program 100%. And I think of like, if I'm in a program, no matter what it is, I'm going to give it 100%. Because anything else, I'm devaluing myself. And so when I think of anytime I've ever been in a program, I'm going 100% all the way in, because if I do a program at 50% and I do another program at 50%, chances are I'm really only getting about 25% out of the program that I originally thought. And so even if I add those 2 up, I may be only getting a total of 50% out of that program versus focusing on one, getting 100% out of it, utilizing it for 3 months, 6 months, whatever that is, and then transitioning into a new one. Because what happens is we master the use of one program. You could think of like squeezing all of the juice out of the apple so that we can really maximize the taste and the benefit. And so once we do that, then we're able to go to another program and say, okay, listen, I've done all these things. I've mastered this. Now I'm going to go to this new one, and I'm going to see the areas that I could change or that I could upgrade and fix. But, one thing I do see a lot in the personal development coaching, business coaching space is there's so many guys in so many programs that it's like they don't ever focus on one. They don't get all the results out of either one, and they're kind of giving themselves a disservice. And so, I want to challenge you guys this week. If you are in, a couple of programs, make sure that they're not conflicting with each other. Make sure that, hey, if you're in a marketing program and maybe they're not teaching you copywriting and you hire someone to help you with copywriting, that's adding value to that. Or, maybe you're in a marketing program and there's no sales help in that, but you get a sales coach to help you with that. That's adding to that. But if there's a program where you're conflicting with two things, it's like I said, it's like following two recipes and expecting to get the same result. Very rarely are you ever going to get the full result that you want by doing that. And so you're not going to get all the benefits out of either one. So why not just be in one, be committed, and then transition into the other one as you can upgrade your thinking. And I know this, even some of the programs where I maybe felt like, man, I'm not getting anything out of this, I actually ended up learning what I didn't want to do. I ended up learning I ended up learning things about myself that I was frustrated with. And so I always got value out of it. I think the important thing is when we invest in ourselves, we have to go all in with whatever we're doing to reap the full benefit of it, whether it be good or bad or indifferent. But I believe being committed to the investment we make in ourselves is the most important thing. So, the other thing is I want to talk about today is this idea of high ticket coaching, high ticket consulting. Right now, this is a huge opportunity to get into this space. One of the things that we're working on this week is rolling out a program inside of the Habit-Based Lifestyle Business Accelerator, which is, our main program. This is for people who want to build, a six-figure business. They want to be able to add an additional revenue stream to an existing model of business they're doing. And we do this by kind of like a coaching, consulting, high ticket model. I do have some people inside of real estate, financial services, insurance, and mortgage also getting amazing results with this program. So it's not just coaching or consulting, but we're working with a ton of chiropractors, doctors, some trainers, really teaching them how to package and position their product or their service and offer at a higher level and position yourself as the expert inside of your industry using Facebook organically. Now, there's a lot of people that, will come along and try to copy what you're doing, which is great. And that's what they see on the front end, but what they don't see is what's actually on the back end. And that's where the real money is. And so a lot of people have been asking me like, hey, what is this, lifestyle business that you're doing all about? And this is really about a business that you can build online without spending a penny on advertising, without stealing a minute away from your time or family. And you really get to create the life that you want and have your business fit into that. And so, when I thought about, I come from, personal training background. I had 2 fitness studios where, we did close to $2 million a year in revenue. But what I found was, I was only taking home about 25% of that, which for the training industry is considered, it's considered great. And I was probably in the top 1% of personal training gym owners. But the thing that I realized was, hey, if we're doing $2 million a year and I'm only taking home 25%, what is the issue? And we had, almost 25 employees, very high overhead. And the thing that I wanted to get to was I realized I could build a similar business model as far as like coaching, consulting. I didn't have to just stick with training or nutrition. I could add in these other components that I'd been trained on. And what I want you to know is your life experience can be packaged and positioned in a way where you can offer additional coaching and additional training. And that's where I was like, man, I have all this life experience. I want to be able to combine this with what I know inside the fitness industry, what I know inside of nutrition, what I know inside of mindset, what I've been able to do as an athlete. And I want to combine that into some type of lifestyle program. And so the reason I started this business was because I realized I could probably reduce my hours by about 50%. I could reduce my overhead by about 80 to 90%. And I could increase my profit margin easily by another 30 to 40% on top of the 25% I was making. And so without having to have all the headaches of a huge team, having an overhead of 120 grand every month. And that's really why I launched this lifestyle business back in January of 2019, was because I got tired of the high overhead. I got tired of all those things. And I wanted to do more of a lifestyle system, more of a lifestyle business versus just focusing on nutrition, just focusing on personal training. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just kind of gotten burnt out of 20 years of that. And so I knew that the people who are the most successful inside of, the people I worked with weren't just focused on nutrition. They weren't just focused on, working out. They were focused on changing everything about their life. But this lifestyle business, we don't worry about features, of the program where, it's like, hey, we have all this state of the art stuff. I mean, that's what kind of the old gym model, or I even see a lot of chiropractors, they talk about, hey, we have all these like tables, we have all these things, but it's like, they don't ever talk about the results that they get people. And so, this lifestyle business coaching is about talking about the results and the problems that we actually solve for people. Which one of the biggest problems we solve for people is how to have a balanced, lifestyle. And I don't mean balance as far as equal time. I mean balance as far as equal intention, where we are putting intention in these areas equally. So as we build our business, we continue to build our lifestyle and everything else around it. I also, think about, how we solve higher level problems. So we solve, really small problems in the beginning, but like, as you continue to build this business out, you're continually solving higher level problems. You're helping people get to a place that they never thought was actually possible. And so by us being able to do that, by me being able to do that, I'm saying like, listen, we're going to help you get to a place in your life and in your business that you never thought was possible. We're going to go against what everybody else is doing as far as marketing. We're going to go against what everybody else kind of tells you not to do. And we're going to do this in a different way. And so, my biggest thing is, like, I always want to help people solve their biggest problem, because I know if I can do that, we can create a new problem and we can continue to have higher level problems. And that means you're going to get higher level change and higher level results, which ultimately is going to impact you and create bigger change in your life. So as we go through this model, I think the biggest thing is, you don't need a funnel. You don't need Facebook ads. You don't need websites. You don't need all these things that people podcasts. Even for me, I launched a book back in almost 2 years ago. I launched a podcast and did Facebook ads, did funnels, did all these things, spent like $50,000 to $60,000 on these. And never actually I could sit back and say, listen, this is what I got in return on it. But I can tell you the type of marketing and the type of effective strategy we're using now is, I got one coach in my program who in 77 days already has done over $100,000. I have some chiropractors in my program. I have one chiropractor specifically, man, just last week alone, almost $37,000 in sales. And he's done over six figures. So we have people literally transitioning from either starting their business, starting a coaching business. We have people just shifting up models to add additional revenue in their business. We have them hitting six figures in a short amount of time, anywhere from 76 days to 120 days. This is add-on revenue. This is new revenue. This is not what they were already doing. This is an additional revenue. And so it's been really cool to watch people transition. I've watched people for the first time in real estate and only be in the industry for like 3 or 4 years actually start becoming the go-to real estate person in their area because they're building know, like, and trust with the people that are interested in it. And they're also asking them questions and being able to have dialogue with clients that no one else is willing to talk about in their industry. And I think that is one of the key things inside of this is, building a lifestyle business, building, a business where you're solving higher level problems means that you're asking your clients, powerful questions. And when you get those, you're getting the information back that you need. And so, as you may be watching this wondering, well, how does this work, in my business? How does this work, in whatever I'm doing? And if you're the expert in what you do, eventually at some point in your life, in your career, you're going to have to turn that into a coaching and consulting model if you want to be known kind of as the go-to expert in your business. And so, whether that's chiropractic, adding that as a service, because think about it, if you're a chiropractor, people are coming into you. You may be just trading in time for money. So it's like, how many adjustments can I do in X amount of time? Eventually I run out of time or I have to hire someone to help me. Well, if you added another stream of revenue to where it's like, hey, now I'm actually going to coach and consult my clients, but I'm going to do it in a way that's scalable. I'm going to do it in a way that offers higher level value for my clients. And I'm also going to be available to help consult and coach my clients with health. Then that automatically is bringing in more value. So just you adjusting a client every time they come in, I mean, you could spend 1 minute to 3 minutes each client, but there's no connection inside of that. There's a short adjustment. And so what happens is you never actually get to build, a relationship with a client. This style gives you the opportunity to be able to do that. It makes your clients feel connected to you, and they're willing to pay a higher level for more of a health program that you can help guide them on. Similar to, like I said, people that are experts, whether it be financial services, insurance, these are all ways that you can give people higher level coaching, higher level advice to where you can really help them down the path of understanding, how to protect themselves, understanding, different models of investing, different models of just doing business. But I think a lot of it is that if you're going to be the expert, why not get paid to be the expert in what you're doing? And so I really, truly believe that this season that we're in with, COVID and all these other things, what's happened is the traditional way that you've maybe done business may not be as effective. It may not be the only way to operate in business. And so there's been a huge pivot in the last 6, 7 months, 8 months. Like, it's transitioned more to online, virtual, and people now are accepting, hey, I can have a relationship with a client this way, speak to them all the time, and still have an effective result, and it's keeping me safe. And not only that, it's actually giving the person delivering the coaching, delivering the consulting, and delivering the program and messaging, it's giving them more time back at the same time. So, I love the in-person stuff where we get to meet people, but I really believe that this is a way that we can get into people and tap into them and do it in a different manner, but also have major impact this way. The other thing, that I wanted to talk about in today's market is this, and this is kind of the last piece I want to roll in with, but we're building out a program right now that is we're going to be launching soon. First, we're going to be testing this with the clients we already have, but it's basically going to be called 100 Days to 100K. And the idea is that you launch a coaching and consulting business, and our goal for you, we've already proven it works. Our goal for you is to hit 100K with our formula that we're using, 100K in 100 days or less. And we're going to be rolling this out throughout December, testing it obviously with clients. We've already started doing that and proved that it works, but there's going to be an opportunity in December for 5 people that I'm going to work with exclusively that are not in the program right now. I'm going to give this option to 5 people to do 100K inside of 100 days or less with one offer. And we are going to, hold you accountable in a way you've never been held accountable. We are going to basically make sure that you do this because on the other end, we know that if we make sure you do this, you win and we win. And that's ultimately what we want more than anything is we want you to win, because when you win, we win and we win together. And that's ultimately the relationship and the business that I am committed to building. And we're going to head into 2021 absolutely on fire inside the Habit-Based Lifestyle Business Accelerator. So make sure you pay attention to that. If you're already in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Accelerator, you got access to this already. So if you guys are watching the replay on this, feel free. You can just type in the comments right now if you are interested in this 100 days to 100K. And I will personally send you a message. We can get on a call and see if this is the right fit for you. But I want to leave you guys with this today is, yes, yesterday was Thanksgiving, but part of giving thanks is giving. So we have to make sure that, we are always giving to our clients, to the people in our lives, because I think sometimes our success and the more successful we become, the less we start giving and we start kind of focusing on different things. And so I want to challenge you this time of year is to give, not even this time of year, but just to give. The more success you have, the more you should be giving back in return. But there's also a part of giving that's receiving. And so, people saying, hey, thank you for helping me, make sure that you also receive that so that you can continue to give at a high level. Because I think part of giving is receiving. If we're helping people, we also have to receive back in return. If they're thanking us, that we want to fully embrace that and receive it, because, ultimately if someone says, hey, thank you for doing this for me, and you're like, yeah, okay, versus saying, yeah, I really appreciate you telling me this. And, that way you can continue to give that, giving thanks and receiving thanks at the same time, because I think both of those go hand in hand together. And I think it's important for a relationship going forward that we are equally giving both of those attention. So I just want to thank you guys for being on here this week. I look forward to next week. I look forward to the weeks to come, because heading into 2021 is going to be one of the biggest years of your life. I know it's going to be one of the biggest and most successful years of my life. And I want to make sure that as we continue down this path of the Coach's Corner, I want to make sure I set you up for success. So I want you to type in now, what is one thing that you've taken away from this episode that, maybe you've learned, or maybe it's like, hey, you didn't really say this, but this is what kind of came through to me out of this episode. And this is one thing I'm going to work on from this. So I want to thank you guys again. Have yourself an amazing Friday and great weekend. And we'll talk to you next time.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse